heat pumps put in, and we realized that, you know what? This room gets really dark with the blinds down. The blinds up and you can see straight in. So it's time for some curtains. When we were out on the weekend, we actually found 3 of these curtains. Oh, where's the top here? At an estate sale. They're in really good condition. They are crazy long. Whew. And realized not the biggest fan of the horizontal stripe. However, when we hold it up so that it's a vertical stripe, it's still really long. So the plan is to cut these 3 curtains into 8 curtains so that we can cover the 2 windows there, the 2 windows here, the 2 windows there, and the sliding door. It's a really nice fabric. Right now we've been using these gray curtains that we have for photo shoots, and A, they're way too long, and B, you can see straight through them. They don't really give us any privacy. It's time to change that. So we're going to be making curtains for the living room. Now, in looking at this family room, the windows and the door are the same width, which is also known as 69 inches. The height is the same except one. It's 6'11" or 7 feet, so it's 1 inch off. So if I do them all at, I'll just say 6'11" to 7, and we'll see from there. Now the trick with like a heavy drape is that you actually want it 1.5 to 2 times the width. So if this is, I like to do 2 times because I like things more full. So if I go to my calculator, and 69 times 2 is 138 inches, but that's going to be 2 panels, so I could have just said each panel is going to be 69 inches. We also need seam allowance, and on these you want about 2 inches on each side, so you can fold over 1 inch and 1 inch. So that puts us, instead of 69, we are at 71 wide, and for the height, 7 feet, I don't work in feet very often, is 84 inches. But then we also want a hem on the bottom and the rod pocket on the top. This is where things get a little complicated. So because this already has a hem on both sides, where are we going? What I can do is just take the extra down and fold it into a rod pocket. And I think we can use the existing side as the bottom. So we'll say we want about 5 inches-ish for the top. And if it doesn't have a bottom, or if we're cutting it shorter, we want about 5. I think I want more than 5 at the top. No, 5 is fine. And on the bottom, we'll say about 3-ish if we need it. Those are my width, height, and I have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. Let's get cracking. We're gonna cut them all out, and then I'm gonna sew them all up, and then we'll put them up. So the first step was to unpick all of the pleats at the top of the curtains, which I did, and then I measured out all of my panels and cut them out. Now, this makes it sound like it was really easy. It was not, because I was creating 3 curtains into 8 panels, so there was a bit of figuring out how to cut each one out. In the end, it worked out though. Then it was time to sew all of the side seams. To do this, I made sure that my lining was tucked underneath and just folded over the good fabric twice and stitched down it. It was relatively straightforward. Just, repeat for all 8 panels, both sides. so time consuming. And the very last step was the hem on the bottom and the rod pocket on the top. Now this one I did take a little more time to do, making sure to measure everything because I wanted it to hang correctly, and I also wanted the rod pocket to look nice at the top. So I just folded a little over and then a lot over. I think it ended up being 1 inch and then 4 inches to equal my 5-inch top, and then 1 inch and 2 inches on the bottom. As you can see, I measured it every step of the way to make sure this would hang properly.
So this is our living room. It's a lovely shade of green. And by lovely, I mean it's an alright shade of green. I don't hate enough to repaint the whole thing right now. But when we put a new heat pump system in, we got reminded that there was a bunch of holes underneath the painting we had on the mantelpiece.
So many holes.
So what we are going to do is going to go through the room, patch up all the nail holes, all the screw holes that kind of accumulated over the decades. We're going to take off these delightfully illegal blinds.
Because of the string.
Because of the string and choke hazard. Replace them with some nice curtains and shears. And just give it a nice, easy-ish refresh.
Yeah, we're looking for this to be really fast because this is not the room that we want to spend a lot of time on currently. We have long-term plans for this room, but that's after a lot of other things are done. Because right now it's serviceable.
Yep, and that's why we don't want to spend a lot of effort on it.
Let's get to it. So Chris has a new toy, which is the laser level, so we can make sure that these are all at the same height in the entire room.
Well, it starts by removing the already present shears from the highly technical, very advanced, existing.
That are definitely not L brackets that you curved.
By hitting them against the ground. No, of course not. I never do that. That's crazy.
Yep, they are pulling it down.
We can't use these curtains.
Okay. I am sad about that, but it is what it is.
So while we love those curtains, they're not really viable if they're pulling the hollow wall anchor out of the wall. So I gotta figure out a solution for that. And we have to go with a much lighter curtain. So our overambitious curtains definitely caused this particular one to tear out. That just means we have to swap it out with a different style. Yeah, just pulled right out. Alright, the main reason that didn't work is because the hollow wall anchor crumbled all the plaster and went out of the way. So, what we're going to do is we're going to fill it up with a bunch of mud while I pack this sucker full. And use a very special kind of wall anchor that doesn't have a set distance to grab. And I'm gonna have to go to the store. All right. So last time we hung up our curtain rod here, it pulled the plaster out and made it completely unusable as an anchor point. We tried a different type, it did not work out well in our favor. So now we're going to this guy. How this guy works is you shove it in the wall, he flicks out like that, you pull him back, tighten this down so it basically grips the wall like this, and this is where you put your screw through. This will get onto the plaster boards on the inside quite nicely. And unlike the wingy kind that open up once you put them in, you can take the screw in and out of this one, it'll stay in place because of the zip tie. Which means when we come to paint this wall, we won't lose the hollow wall anchor. I took the time to set the laser line to be the exact height of the screws, or where the screw needs to be. Use a level. And this is dead center of where I need to drill. So I know slats go that way for the plaster, so we're gonna make it so we catch them as best we can. Here's hoping. You know, you didn't have to prove me right. I would have taken the win. Well, that feels very firm. Good enough for now.
So we've had the curtains for a little bit and we love them. Currently, the system involves using a tassel and tying it around, and that takes quite a bit of time. They're kind of weird to adjust, and honestly, it doesn't pull them back as much as we would like. It gets too dark during the day, and then you just want to nap all day. And while the cats love that, it's not great for me. So we're going to use the hardware that came with the actual curtain rods and put some tie backs, some hooks. Here you can see we've got the laser level. And then we can also get the shears in there and just hook them in and still have lots of window. 2 seconds easy. So let's get to it. We officially have tie backs.